Good morning everyone. Basa na ng Bible. Magbasa rin kayo para masabayan niyo ako sa pagbabasa. March 10 na tayo. March 10, 2021, Deuteronomy 11, 12, and 13. And Mark hindi ko na pa Mark 12, 1 to 27. Mamaya na yun. Dito muna tayo sa Deuteronomy 11, 12, and 13. Basa. Love and obey the Lord. Love the Lord your God, and keep His requirements, His decrees, His laws, and His commands always. Remember today that your children were not the ones who saw and experienced the discipline of the Lord your God, His majesty, His mighty hand, His outstretched arm, the signs He performed, and the things He did in the heart of Egypt, both to Pharaoh king of Egypt and to his whole country. What He did to the Egyptian army, to its horses and chariots. Yung nalala nyo yung nahati yung tubig. Tapos sila nakatawid. Tapos yung mga Egyptian horses, wala. Nalunod yung mga yun. Natabunan na ng tubig. Oh, He overwhelmed them with the waters of the Red Sea. Red Sea pala yung nakatabon sa kanila. As they were pursuing you, and how the Lord brought lasting ruin on them. It was not your children who saw what He did for you in the desert until you arrived at this place, at what He did to Dathan and Abiram, sons of Eliab, the Reubenite, when the earth opened. Yes, nung nagrebelde yung mga to guys, tapos na-open yung lupa. When the earth opened its mouth right in the middle of all Israel and swallowed them up with their households, their tents, and every living thing that belonged to them. But it was your own eyes that saw all these great things the Lord has done. May mga naiwan pa kayang, syempre wala na yung mga talagang nag-witness noong araw. Parang ano na lang to. Ito kaya to buhay na story pa kasi nakasulat na dito sa book ng Bible. Pero yung mga witnesses, mga patay na syempre. Sa generation natin ngayon, wala na sila. Observe therefore all the commands I am. Syempre, ilang na to, panahon, wala pa si Jesus nito eh. Diba? Observe therefore all the commands I am giving you today, so that you may have the strength to go in and take over the land that you are crossing the Jordan to possess, and so that you may live long in the land that the Lord swore to your forefathers to give to them and their descendants, land flowing with milk and honey. The land you are entering to take over is not like the land of Egypt from which you have come, where you planted your seed and irrigated it by foot as in vegetable garden. But the land you are crossing the Jordan to take possession of is land of mountains and valleys that drinks rain from heaven. Wow, ang galing naman. Drinks rain from heaven. It is a land that the Lord your God cares for. The eyes of the Lord your God are continually on it from the beginning of the year of its to its end. Pero, yung mga tao doon na dati na, kawawa naman, gigirahin na naman. Diba? So, if you faithfully obey the commands I am giving you today to love the Lord your God and to serve Him with all your heart and with all your soul, then I will send rain on your land and its season, both autumn and spring rains, so that you may gather in your grain, new wine and oil. I will provide grass in the fields for your cattle, and you will eat and be satisfied. Be careful, or you will be enticed to turn away and worship other gods and bow down to them. Then the Lord's anger will burn against you, and He will shut the heavens so that it will not rain, and the ground will yield no produce, and you will soon perish from the good land the Lord is giving you. Fix these words of mine in your hearts and minds. Tie them as symbols on your hands and bind them on your foreheads. Teach them to your children, talking about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Write them on the doorframes of your houses and on your gates, so that your days and the days of your children may be many in the land that the Lord swore to give your forefathers, as many as the days that the heavens are above the earth. If you carefully observe of these commands I am giving you to follow, to love the Lord your God, to walk in all His ways, and to hold fast to Him, then the Lord will drive out all these nations. Wala, tinitingnan ko lang yung minuto kung ilan. Then the Lord will drive out all these nations before you, and you will dispose these nations larger and stronger than you. Every place where you set your foot will be yours. Wow! Your territory will extend from the desert to Lebanon, and from the Euphrates River to the western sea. No man will be able to stand against you. The Lord your God, as He promised you, will put the terror and fear of you on the whole land wherever you go. Say, I am sitting before you today a blessing and a curse. The blessing if you obey. Parang namamaalam na si Moses. lahat ng bilin ginawa na. The blessing if you obey the commands of the Lord your God that I am giving you today. The curse if you disobey the command of the Lord your God and turn from the way that I command you today, by following other gods, which you have not known. When the Lord your God has brought you into the land you are entering to possess, you are to proclaim on Mount Gerizim the blessings, and the Mount Ebal the curses. Oh, sa blessings sa Mount Gerizim, sa curses sa Mount Ebal. As you know, these mountains are across the Jordan west of the road toward the setting sun, near the great trees of Moreh, and the territory of those Canaanites living in the Arabah and the vicinity of Gilgal. You are about to cross the Jordan to enter and take possession of the land the Lord your God giving you. When you have taken it over and are living there, be sure that you obey all the decrees and laws I am setting before you today. Laws for proper worship. Chapter 12 na tayo, guys. The one place of worship. These are the decrees and laws you must be careful to follow in the land that the Lord, the God of your fathers, has given you to possess. As long as you live in the land, destroy completely all the places on the high mountains destroy. Sa verse 2 guys, chapter 12 verse 2. Destroy completely all the places on the high mountains, and on the hills, and under every spreading tree, where the nations you are disposing worship their gods. Break down their altars, smash their sacred stones, and burn their Asherah poles in the fire. Cut down the idols of their gods, and wipe out their names from those places. You must not worship the Lord your God in their way. O yung mga unang nakatira doon guys, ibig sabihin hindi si Father God ang God nila. Kaya pinapadestroy. Break down their altars. Sa verse 3, break down their altars, smash their sacred stones, and burn their Asherah poles in the fire. Cut down the idols of their gods, and wipe out their names from those places. You must not worship the Lord your God in their way, but you are to seek the place the Lord your God will choose from among all your tribes, to put his name there for his dwelling. To that place you must go. There bring your burnt offerings and sacrifices, your tithes and special gifts that you have vowed to give, and your freewill offerings, and the firstborn of your herds and flocks. There in the presence of the Lord your God, you and your families shall eat, and shall rejoice in everything you have put your hand to, because the Lord your God has blessed you. You are not to do as we do over here today, everyone as it is fit, since you have not yet reached the resting place and the inheritance the Lord your God is giving you. But you will cross the Jordan and settle in the land the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance. And he will give you rest from all your enemies around you, so that you will live in safety. Then to the place of the Lord your God will choose as a dwelling for his name. There you are to bring everything I command you, your burnt offerings and sacrifices, your tithes and special gifts, and all the choice possessions you have vowed to the Lord, and there rejoice before the Lord your God, you, your sons and daughters, your men servants and maid servants, and the Levites from your towns, who have no allotment or inheritance of their town. Be careful not to sacrifice your burnt offerings anywhere you please. Offer them only at the place the Lord will choose in one of your tribes, and there observe everything I command you. Nevertheless, you may slaughter your animals in any of your towns and eat as much of the meat as you want, as if it were gazelle or deer, according to the blessing the Lord your God gives you. Both the ceremonially unclean and the clean may eat it, but you must not eat the blood. Bawal talaga yung blood, guys. You must not eat the blood, pour it out on the ground like water. You must not eat in your own towns the tithe of your grain and new wine and all, or the firstborn of your herds and flocks, or whatever you have vowed to give, or your freewill offerings or special gifts. Instead, you are to eat them in the presence of the Lord your God at the place the Lord your God will choose. You, your sons and daughters, your men servants and maid servants, and the Levites from your towns, and your are to rejoice before the Lord your God in everything you put your hand to. Be careful not to neglect the Levites as long as you live in your land. When the Lord your God has enlarged your territory as he promised you, and you crave meat and say, I would like some meat, then you may eat as much of it as you want. If the place where the Lord your God chooses to put his name is too far away from you may slaughter animals from the herds and flocks the Lord has given you, as I have commanded you, and in your town and in your towns you may eat as much as of them as you want. Eat them as you would gazelle or deer. Both the ceremonially unclean and the clean may eat, but be sure do not eat the blood. Inulit-ulit. Yung chapter 12 verse 16 and chapter 12 verse 22, pareho guys. Eat them as you would gazelle or deer, both the ceremonially unclean and the clean may eat, but be sure you do not eat the blood. Wag daw kainin talaga yung blood. Ako nga, ayoko na rin yan eh. Mula nung nababasa ko dito yan. Parang, ayun. Parang kaano na kainin. Parang nasusuko na ako. Because the blood is the life, and you must not eat the life with the meat. You must not eat the blood, pour it out on the ground like water. Do not eat it, so that it may go well with you and your children after you, because you will be doing what is right in the eyes of the Lord. But seek your consecrated things and whatever you have vowed to give, and go to the place the Lord will choose. Present your burnt offerings on the altar of the Lord your God, both the meat and the blood. The blood of your sacrifices must be poured beside the altar of the Lord your God. But you may eat the meat. Be careful to obey all these regulations I am giving you, so that it may always go well with you and your children after you, because you will be doing what is good and right in the eyes of the Lord your God. The Lord your God will cut off before you the nations you are about to invade and dispose, but when you have driven them out and settled in their land, and after they have been destroyed before you, be careful not to be ensnared by inquiring about their gods, saying, how do these nations serve their gods? Ako pa naman, lagi kong tinatanong, sino kaya ang gods na ng mga yun? Bago na ng mga Israelites. Bago na sakop ng mga Israelites. We will do the same. You must not worship the Lord your God in their way, because in worshiping their gods, they do all kinds of detestable things the Lord hates. They even burn their sons and daughters hala in the fire as sacrifices of their gods. Ay ganon. See that you do all I command you, do not add to it or take away from it. Chapter 13 guys. Worshipping other gods. If a prophet or one who foretells by dreams appears among you and announces to you miraculous sign or wonder, and if the sign or wonder of which he has spoken takes place, and he says, let us follow other gods you have not known, and let us worship them, you must not listen to the words of that prophet or dreamer. The Lord your God is testing you to find out whether you love him with all your heart and with all your soul. It is the Lord your God you must follow, and him you must revere. Keep his commands and obey him, serve him and hold fast to him. The prophet or dreamer must be put to death, because he preached rebellion against the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt and redeemed you from the land of slavery. He has tried to turn you from the way the Lord your God commanded you to follow. Kaya guys, kung sino man yung prophet na nagsasabing may ibang Diyos, huwag paniniwalaan. The Lord your God commanded you to follow. You must purge the evil from among you. Chapter 13 verse 6 guys. If your very own brother or your son or daughter or the wife you love or your closest friend secretly entices you, saying, let us go and worship other gods, gods that neither you nor your fathers have known, gods that peoples around you, whether near or far from one end of the land to the other, do not yield to him, listen to him. Do not yield to him or listen to him. Show him no pity, do not spare him or shield him. You must certainly put him to death. Your hand must be the first in putting him to death, and then the hands of all the people. Stone him to death because he tried to turn you away from the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. Then all Israel will hear and be afraid, and no one among you will do such an evil thing again. Sa verse 12, chapter 13, verse 12. If you hear it said about one of towns the Lord your God is giving you to live in, to live in, ulit guys. If you hear it said if you hear it said, sa verse 12 ha, if you hear it said about one of the towns the Lord your God is giving you to live in, that wicked men have risen among you, and have led the people of their town astray, saying, let us go and worship other gods, gods you have not known, then you must inquire, probe that, and investigate it thoroughly. And if it is true, and it has been proved that this detestable thing has been done among you, you must certainly put to the sword all who live in that town, destroy it completely, both its people and its livestock. Gather all the plunder of the town into the middle of the public square, and completely burn the town and all its plunder as a whole burnt offering to the Lord your God. It is to remain a ruin forever, never to be rebuilt. None of those condemned things shall be found in your hands, so that the Lord will turn from his fiery anger. He will show no He will show you mercy, have compassion on you, and increase your numbers as he promised on oath to your forefathers, because you obey the Lord your God, keeping all these commands that I am giving you today, and doing what is right in his eyes. So, punta na tayo sa New Testament, pero inom muna ako. Napagod yung lalamunan ko. Hindi talaga ako tumatagal ng matagal na basa na. Kaya mahanga ako sa mga magagandang boses talaga. Hanga lang ha, hindi naman yung sinasabing sasampay mo. Iba yung paghanga. Kasi yung sinasabi dito, yung mga ina-idol na other gods. Iba yun. Mark, ano na tayo? Iba kasi yung wala kang, yung skills mong pagbabasa na hindi tumatagal. Parang inaano mo sa iba. Parang inaano mo na, mas magaling pa yung iba kaysa sa'yo. Kasi nga sumusuko ka agad yung lalamunan natin. Ibang magaganda ang boses, tayo pumipiyok agad. Mark, ano na? 12:1 to 27 na tayo, guys. May tanda na pala tayo. Jesus tells the parable of the evil farmers. Wait lang. Excuse me. He then began to speak to them in parables. A man planted a vineyard. He put a wall around it, dug a pit for the winepress, and built a watchtower. Then he rented the vineyard to some farmers and went away on a journey. At harvest time, he sent a servant to the tenants to collect from them some of the fruit of the vineyard. But the system beat him and sent him away empty-handed. Then he sent another servant to them. They struck this man on the head and treated him shamefully. He sent still another, and that one they killed. He sent many others, some of them they beat, others they killed. He had one left to send a son whom he loved. He sent him last of all, saying, "They will respect my son." But the tenants said to one another, "This is the heir. Come, let's kill him." Parang ano yung, dito ako nasasaktan talaga. Yung parang, alam mo yung, ikaw yung naghirap, tapos ibibilin mo sa iba. Tapos parang aagawin na sa'yo yung, alam mo yun, ikaw yung naghirap, tapos ikaw yung nawalan. But the tenants said to one another, "This is the heir, come let's kill him, and the inheritance will be ours." So they took him and killed him and threw him out of the vineyard. What then will the owner of the vineyard do? He will come and kill those tenants and give the vineyard to others. Haven't you read this scripture? The stone the builders rejected has become the capstone. The Lord has done this, and it is marvelous in our eyes. Then they looked for a way to arrest him because they knew he had spoken the parable against them, but they were afraid of the crowd, so they left him and went away. Religious leaders questioned Jesus about paying taxes. Nabasa na rin natin to, guys. Pinapabayad ng tax si Jesus. Later, they sent some of the Pharisees and Herodians to Jesus to catch him in his words. They came to him and said, "Teacher, we know you are a man of integrity. You aren't swayed by men because you pay no attention to who they are, but you teach the way of God in accordance with the truth. It is right to pay taxes to Caesar or not. Should we pay or shouldn't we?" But Jesus knew their hypocrisy. "Why are you trying to trap me?" he asked. "Bring me a denarius and let me look at it." They brought the coin and asked him, "Whose portrait is this and whose inscription?" "Caesar's," they replied. Then Jesus said to them, "Give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's." And they were amazed at him. Religious leaders questioned Jesus about the resurrection. Then the Sadducees, who say there is no resurrection, came to him with the questions. "Teacher," they said, "Moses wrote for us that if a man's brother dies and leaves a wife." Ito yung naalala ko yung pag namatay yung yung story ng kay Moses na pag namatay pag walang anak. Pero yung isang kapatid kaya is ginawa niya, hindi niya pinasok yung semen niya. So, hindi pa rin nagkakaanak kasi nagagalit nga siya. Pinarusahan din yun Ito yung story. So, nakalagay na dito, guys. Inulit-ulit. So, kumbaga yung mga teachers na to, nagbabasa ng lobok ni Moses, ng mga sunulat ni Moses. Teacher, sa verse 19, guys, ng chapter 12. Mark chapter 12, verse 19. "Teacher," they said, "Moses wrote for us that if a man's brother dies and leaves a wife but no children, the man must marry the widow and have children for his brother. Now there were 7 brothers. The first one married and died without leaving any children. The second one married the widow, but he also died, leaving no child. It was the same with the third. In fact, none of the 7 left any children." Napakamalas nung widow na yun. "Last of all, the woman died too. At the resurrection, whose wife will she be, since the 7 were married to her?" Tsaka, guys, yung magkakapatid, paano kung yung magkakapatid is 5 lang or 3 lang? So, paano magiging hanggang 7. Ay, pure parables lang naman to. Jesus replied, "Are you not in error because you do not know the scriptures or the power?" Jesus replied, "Are you not in error because you do not know the scriptures or the power of God? When the dead rise, they will neither marry nor be given in marriage. They will be like the angels in heaven. Now about the dead rising, have you not read in the book of Moses, in the account of the bush, how God said to him, I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. He is not the God of the dead, but of the living. You are badly mistaken." Oh, kaya nga guys, naalala niyo yung nag-resurrection din si Jesus. 'Di ba yung mga holy people, yung mga banal na tao, nabuhay din kasama niya. Nung nag-crack yung mga tomb, yung mga nabukas yung lahat ng tombs noon. So, lahat ng mga banal na buhay din. So, ibig sabihin ni Jesus, yung mga nabuhay noon, pumunta rin sa heaven. Pero nakalagay kasi doon sa old scripture, nandoon sa city, diba? So, ibig sabihin, after na resurrection, they will be like the angels in heaven. Anuhin natin tong 25. So, angels na sila ng heaven. He is not the God of the dead, but of the living. You are badly mistaken. Anuhin natin to sa description natin mamaya. Bye everyone. God bless.